I'd rather be with you. Yeah.
Hello everybody, welcome to Good Vibes Radio. My name is Alice and together we're going to spend 40 minutes to discover an entrepreneur you may not know yet. Just a very short introduction. Good Vibes Radio, it's the online and live shows dedicated to discover entrepreneur, new faces. I started 7 years ago, The Family, and at The Family, we believe that anyone can become a great entrepreneur. It doesn't mean that everyone should become a founder, but it means that can come from anywhere. So that's why with my team, we've been working hard on providing education, tools, and access to capital to more than 100 startups a year. And you may have heard of some of them like Algolia, Payfit, Each, or even Joe. And since the crisis started, we've been all confined to home, and we started these Good Vibe shows because we wanted to interview founders. We wanted to keep the connection with the founders, and I've been running more than 50 interviews that you can find on YouTube, or you can join and ask all of your questions to all of my guests. And it's been a super cool way to keep our connections tight and to support each other. Not only inside our little community, but also including the 70,000 people following The Family on YouTube. Today, my friends, I am very happy to welcome Ali Rami. So Ali is the youngest entrepreneur of The Family. He is only 20 years old and he's been tackling a huge problem, the lack of credit accessibility for freelancers. And together, we'll spend 40 minutes to talk about different topics that matter for both of us, starting at a young age in such a traditional industry, the banking industry, helping freelancers, creating a working product within less than 3 months. And also, as well, if Ali wants, managing people, older people, when you are that young. Of course, my friend, you can talk in the chat. You are free to ask all of your questions, and we'll appreciate your comments as well. So that's the main purpose of this live. And for once, you know what? Ali is with me.
Hi, everyone.
Because actually, he's my neighbor. So we decided to do this live together. And I hope you will appreciate this display because for once, the link is real.
It's real.
Yeah, it's real. It's real. So we are both Parisian and we're both living really literally 100 meters away from each other. How are you, Ali?
I'm good, and you?
Yeah, I'm good. Let's watch the camera because it's easier for the people. We need to adapt to this new setup, of course. So you feel good?
I'm good.
Yeah. Okay, so let's start. Let's start because we don't have so much time. We only have 40 minutes, and I would love to go through the different topics that I've been mentioning. So let's start with the beginning. What is a one-line pitch of Mansa? How do you pitch Mansa?
Mansa is a lending platform where freelancers and self-employed people can get access to business loan and also consumer loan up to 10,000 euro in less than a business day.
Okay, so today, if I want a credit, traditionally, I have to apply at the bank.
Yeah.
And how hard it is?
Actually, you have more than 3 million freelancers in France, and they struggle getting access to credit with traditional banks because they don't have any paychecks to prove their income. So usually their acceptance rate is pretty low with traditional banks. So we rebuilt from scratch a new scoring model adapted to freelancers' financial lifestyle and the fact that they have volatile incomes.
You really want to look at me?
Yeah.
You have to watch here. Okay. So it's how did you? I mean, how this idea started? Why did you start with this problem?
I was very interested about the credit landscape because I felt that there are many huge opportunities and there are population that banks usually don't address. So that's the first point. And the second point is that I'm from a generation that tends to be more and more self-employed. If you take a look at many studies like Manpower's one or Upworks, you see that more and more millennials or people from the Gen Z tend to be self-employed. They are not attracted anymore by the traditional career that you could have as a traditional employee. Yeah.
You speak really fast.
You feel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Remember, we're not all that confident with English. Speak slowly for me,
Okay.
so I can understand. All right. So we get the problem, but okay, we'll go through the how you've been convincing and the different steps, because it's very interesting to understand how you've been starting Mensa. But first, let's have the big picture. What are the KPIs? How many people have you been helping? Since when have you been operating? And maybe the total amount, the volume of
sure.
euros?
Sure. We launched the product in February of this year,
Mm-hmm.
and we already funded over €1 million of loans.
Okay, it's a lot, €1 million.
Yeah, it's a lot, and you have two KPIs that you need to take a look at when you make a loan. The first one is obviously the volume.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a huge growth of the volume we make month over month.
Mm-hmm.
And the second KPI that you need to consider is the default. Because of course you lend money and you need to see your money back after you lend money. So you need to take a look at the payback history, and we have a very, very low default. Obviously, I can't tell you the exact number, but we are super happy of the default, meaning that our scoring model is obviously working.
So how do you check that? How do you make sure that the people can really pay back?
Yeah, now you have a new regulation called the open banking system,
Mm-hmm.
meaning that you can connect your bank account through an API, and we're able to scrap data directly on your bank account.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't need you to send us papers. We just need you to connect your bank account to an API, and we're able to get your income, inflows, outflows, etc. And we perform a traditional scoring check. And we're also going to use external database like La Banque de France to see if there are any incidents with you or your company or loans you have took and you default on.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the two kind of data that we're going to use to score and see if you're eligible for Mansa loan.
Okay, so 200 freelancers have been using already Mansa. It's been open since February only.
Yeah.
So most of your activity have been up and running during
the COVID.
How was it?
Actually, we had a massive growth because obviously during crisis,
everybody needed money.
Yeah, everybody needed money. But as I've mentioned to you, you need to take a look at the risk and also the default. So it's not because you have a massive growth that you're going to make massive volumes, because you need to get paid back.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we had a massive growth, and of course you make a loan, so you need to have the money to fund the loan. And we were working with a bank called Travelex, but we didn't have enough money to fund these loans, so we had to find a solution in less than a month.
You mean that the bank that was supposed to provide the money?
Yeah. We didn't have enough money to fund all the loans because, of course, we had a limited.
Okay, you were limited.
Debt facility. Yeah.
Okay, so how have you managed to find a new partner?
We first raised money with individuals that wanted to invest through the platforms against the yield. So that's the first point. And the second point is that we signed funding partnerships with two banks.
Mm-hmm.
One is one of the biggest French banks, and I can't tell you the name because it will be announced in September.
That's a surprise.
That's a surprise.
All right. Okay. Let's keep the surprise. So so you have a bank behind, but we cannot say.
We have two banks behind.
Okay.
We also have high net worth individuals, and we received a term sheet from a debt fund a few weeks ago. So we are going to set up something with a debt fund also. So we're not only funded by banks, but of course we're working with banks right now.
Okay. So my question now, Ali, how come when you are 20, I mean, you started when you were 17, obviously.
Yeah.
How come when you are so young, you can be treated with respect, or especially in this very traditional industry? How do you convince bank?
With data, actually, because obviously I've never worked for a bank because I just turned 20 during the lockdown. But I think the secret is to really focus on your strengths, meaning that, of course, I don't have any banking background, so I will not convince people with my background. But I think that our strengths with my co-founders and the team is our ability to build tech, to build a brand and make acquisition with very low cost. So when you go and you're able to show banks or even investors data, usually they forget about your name. And if they don't, they're obviously not the right person to work with.
Okay, all right. What's your background? I know you cannot tell me you've been working before. So I mean, are your parents entrepreneurs or?
No, not at all.
Not at all. What do they do?
My mom took care of me, so she was a housewife.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad is working on the telecommunication part of a big bank. So he's not in the banking area because he's working on the telecommunication part.
Infrastructure.
Yeah, infrastructure, yeah. So not entrepreneurs at all. So I got interested in entrepreneurship when I was 16, thanks to the family.
Yes, and that's an important thing because actually we met Ali during one of our programs called Rivers. Yeah. And this program was run by my co-founder, Usama. Usama wanted to be able to provide knowledge, know-how to young people from 14 to 20 years old, something like that? 23,
yeah,
yes.
It was 15 to
yes.
23. Yeah.
And every Saturday during 3 months, you had a bunch of young people coming to the family and learning how to become an entrepreneur, basically.
Yeah.
And that's how we met Maxime from SEO, from SEO Secrets as well.
Okay,
and Maxime Blondel, and Ophélie Duvillard, the influencer, and Elsa Cohen, who wrote a book about how to hack your exam, and many young people we've been discovering through this program, actually. And you were part of this program.
Yeah.
And why did you decide to apply to this program?
Because I was a huge fan of the family, so I never thought I would be accepted to the program. So it was a great surprise for me.
So you were following the content, you were watching the YouTube videos,
and I started. I wouldn't say a company because I was alone in the company. It was a project that I built when I was in school. It was a tool that sums up political British newspapers for students like myself. So it was a very basic idea, but I reached 10,000 students using it.
Okay, so they could know all of the news?
Yeah, without reading the news.
How?
Because actually I built a tool that sums up all the articles for students. So
you don't have to read the full news, but you have a summary.
Yeah, the summary. And so I started this project. It did well. I started making a bit of money when I was at school, but I wanted to tackle the bigger problem.
So the students were paying for this?
Actually, they were not paying for this, but I was making ads with the private institution that wanted to address the students. Tackle a bigger problem. So that's why I turned to build the fintech company. And then I joined the family with Rivers. And beside that, I got to Sciences Po, but I dropped out a year after I got to Sciences Po because of the fundraising.
Okay, so you were so involved in Mansa that you decided to drop out.
Yeah, because we raised money. Actually, we raised a 2 million euro seed round with the French VC called Founders Futures and many angels. So obviously, I didn't have the time to focus on school and also on building this company.
All right. Let's go back before fundraising with Founders Future, etc. Let's start with the beginning. So tell me some of the pivotal moments, some of the key moments at the very beginning that has been proving you right. I'm thinking of the people who are watching us and who might be in the same situation as you were like 2 years ago and thinking of starting their own business. So how it's been for you? And when have you seen like game-changing moments?
Yeah, when we started the company, I think that we were going to make a big mistake, is that usually you build your product or your landing page, you put it online and you're waiting for clients because you think that your idea is great. And even if your idea is great, it's not that simple. And one day my co-founder, Benjamin, told me, okay, we need to get our phones and call freelancers every day. to understand their experience with banks and also why do they need a loan. So we made hundreds of calls, and we had this joke with one of our first employee called Paul, is that of course Mansa is a lending platform. We have algorithm, we have a tech platform, etc. But it was and it's still a big call center for freelancers, because we usually talk to freelancers every day on the phone.
The reality is that it is techy, but it is not the core value. The core value is to be talking with your user, actually.
Yeah, and it's the only way you can get user when you start, because you never have a natural growth from day one. You need to talk to user, understand why they're using your product, and so I think that we made more than 5,000 calls with freelancers since February. So we even hired freelancers to help us, because it was too hard to manage. So I would say that
before starting, you've been on the phone.
Yeah, actually, Paul Graham said, do things that don't scale.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to scale when you talk to freelancers on the phone every day, but it's super important to start. So that's something that we have done to start.
And you felt comfortable enough to profoundly ask questions and understand the pain of your users.
At the beginning, I was a bit shy to take my phone and talk to people I don't know.
Of course.
But it's part of the job.
Yes.
And then, you write script, and with the question you always ask, and it starts to be automatic. But the biggest problem I had is that I was a bit shy to take my phone.
But you feel like today you've been growing on that social side?
Yeah, a lot, because my job is actually to convince banks, to convince investors to make podcasts with you, like I'm doing right now.
Do you feel comfortable right now?
Yeah. And to talk to journalists, to also manage people. So yeah, of course, I've been growing up a lot on this area.
So you feel much more comfortable.
Yeah.
Okay, to take your phone and to speak directly with it.
Yeah,
so the very first thing was talking with freelancers, understanding their pain.
Yeah.
And then once you've understood, you design the solution.
You design the solution. You're building a credit product, so it's not that original. You know that people will need money in their life, so it's not the big bet that we have. But I think that the main thing is about the user experience also, and redesign from scratch a new banking user experience. And also you need to consider also the regulation, because you cannot build a user experience that will not be compliant to the regulator.
Tell me a little bit about your co-founder.
Sure. So
how did you meet? You were friends?
Yeah, actually, they were two of my best friends since we were in high school, even if we're not in the same school.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's Benjamin, who is the COO of the company. He's 21. And there's also Remy. He's the CTO of the company. So he's a bit older. He's 25.
Mm-hmm.
And they built a company together, Benjamin and Remy. That they sold a year after they created the company, and then Benjamin got.
What was the company about?
They've created a software that help you with to scale your server's activity, because you were paying the same price during the afternoon that at 1 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
So they built a software that helps you scale the server activity.
Okay.
And then Benjamin got to Sciences Po.
Yeah.
He dropped out 2 years after he got to Sciences Po to start the company with Remy and I. And he also worked for a French VC when he was at Sciences Po called Star Capital. They were making Series A and Series B, so they invested in Miro, for instance, or Tiers. And Remy was CTO of a crowd lending company called Solidland that he left to join the company.
And what made me, it's okay, so they were friends.
Yeah.
You were already friends. What were you looking at in terms of criteria? What you wanted to make sure of when you
with working with my friends?
Yes.
Yeah. Actually, they were two of my best friends. So obviously, when you start a company and you're super young, the probability that you will succeed is super low. To be honest with you. So I was like, even if I crash the company, I want to make it with people I like.
Mm.
And of course, we had complementary skills. So obviously, it was something that we'll look at.
Do you keep your relationship? I mean, you keep on having relationship with your friends from high school, for instance?
It's a bit difficult, actually, but I try to.
Did you feel different when you were at school?
I wouldn't say different, but
Or rejected or something like that?
Not that rejected, but of course, when you
Want to start a company?
when you want to start a company, you're independent on the financial side, and you're not that interested in school. And you usually evolve with people that are older than you, because I joined the family when I was 17. So all my friends were entrepreneurs, usually around 30 years old. It's a bit difficult.
What excites you in this? Like, what makes you want to start a company?
I would say freedom, because I was not interested in, getting your baccalaureate, then going to university, then getting an internship, and then
getting married, having a house and the kids and the dog.
Maybe one day, but on the professional side, I never wanted to, get a degree, then get your internship and being partner at 15. I wanted to be free right now, because I'm young and I have many things that I want to do, many countries that I want to visit. To visit. So I think entrepreneurship was a good way for me.
Freedom.
To reach that freedom.
I get it. Okay. What have you learned about yourself? You said like you've been learning how to call and to feel comfortable on talking with people you don't know. But what else?
I would say empathy, because right now we have 15 people in the company, so I need to manage people. So I don't know if I'm a good manager or not, but empathy meaning that sometimes people are not that productive, and you need to understand why, because sometimes it could be because of personal reason, especially during the COVID crisis. And to be honest with you, having empathy is not my main quality in life. So
what does it mean?
Well,
it's hard for you to connect with the feelings?
Sometimes yes, and it's the main quality that you need to have when you're CEO of a company. So that's something that I worked on. And also when you're CEO, sometimes you're angry, sometimes you're stressed. It all happens to us as CEOs.
Of course.
But you can't show it to employees, because
that's your rule. Like you don't have to show when you are angry, when you are pissed off.
No, never.
It's a mistake to show it. Why?
Because you're the CEO of the company, you represent the company, and if you're stressed or you're angry, people will think that something is not going well with the company and will be stressed too. Yeah,
because so the impact that your energy, your bad energy has on people is huge. So you are responsible for that energy.
Yeah, you're responsible for that. So a rule that I have is that I never react on the moment, even if it's bad news. I will always take a few hours or even a few days to think about it and then get back to the team with the solution. But you can't react on the moment. You can't show that you're angry or that you're stressed.
I'm still learning on that.
Yeah,
it's so hard.
It
is the hardest thing. It's how to behave really in a mature and responsible way.
Yeah.
And even when you are used to work in teams with the same people, and you feel like you're a close team and you can show everything, you can talk about everything, but once being angry or being mad at something, that's your responsibility to keep it and not to put the stress on the other people.
Yeah, you always need to be in a good vibe.
It's hard.
Yeah, but
just last week for me, I apologize because I've been saying things like, because I was angry to someone, and I apologize. I felt like I missed my role.
Yeah,
it's still hard.
Part of the job, and it's super hard.
So you are working on that.
Yeah,
you're learning about that.
Still learning on it. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I love that. Okay, so. When you are dealing with people, I mean, not your employees, but the people at the bank, okay, the bankers, basically, you need them. They are your partners. What's your secret to make them take you seriously?
As I mentioned to you, I think
It's data, you told me.
yeah, only data, because obviously I don't have the background to convince these people. And also, of course, I'm just 20 years old, but as I've always been evolving with entrepreneurs that are older than I am, it sounds a bit strange, but I don't feel like I'm 20.
Yeah, you feel like you're
like a normal entrepreneur. I don't consider
what is
my
a
age.
normal entrepreneur? Like you feel 30.
I don't feel that I'm a different entrepreneur because I'm young.
Oh,
you
okay,
know?
okay.
I don't
okay.
take it as an excuse or marketing stuff. You know, I'm just an entrepreneur, and the idea for us is to make lending to freelancers.
So it hasn't been difficult because of that.
It has been at the very beginning, but as I've mentioned to you, if people consider something else than your metrics or your data, they're not the right people to work with.
That's a good filter.
Yeah, that's something Usama told me when we started the fundraising, is that a VC that consider something else than your metrics is not the right VC to work with.
Got it. Good thing. Okay, tell me what happened during COVID. So what have been the learnings for you? How did you feel during this moment?
Actually, first, managing crisis. It's my first real company, I would say, and it's the first crisis.
Yeah.
so it was not the right moment to start.
Good luck.
I learned something more on the business side that cash is king. And the chance that we had is that we raised money a few months before the crisis. So I was not stressed about the cash because we have a very low cash burn. And we had the chance to be well funded by investors. So that's the first thing that I've learned. Always control your cash burn. It's super important, especially during crisis. The second thing is always empathy, especially during crisis. You know, you can't go to your employees and be mad at them because they are not productive as they were before the crisis, because they are all confined with sometimes in a very small apartment in Paris. So you need to understand that. You've been understanding that? Yeah. You discovered that? Yeah, I discovered that. Okay. When the crisis started, that's something that I didn't understand. But then, you talk with people, and that's the job, to really ask the right questions. Yeah. And, why are you not working on this extra? And one of our interns told me that he was confined with his mother in a small apartment in Paris, and that it was hard to manage for him. So that's something that you need to understand. To know it and to understand. It's part of the job. And then, as I told you, we had a massive growth. And usually when you're starting a company, you think about what you're going to do if it's not working, but you never think about what you're going to do if you have massive growth. So to be honest with you, we launched the product in February. The crisis happened in March. We were not ready to provide so much money, so much loans to get all this demand. Yeah. So of course. So out of is it like, is there a percentage of people that you accept out of all of the people who apply at Mansa? Yeah, we usually accept 20% of the people applying. Okay. But we increase our criteria during the crisis, obviously, because we need to manage the risk. Because you have freelancers that want to borrow money, and you also have our investors that want to see their money back with yield. So that's the two things that you need to manage. But obviously, we're not ready to get this massive demand because the product was live since a month. So we had to find solutions and to deal with this period. You learned about how to listen to your co-founders, to your employees, and ask the right question and adapt to the stress of the situation. And you've been facing this huge demand. Now we are out of quarantine. It's no longer quarantine. How have you been adapting with your team? Like, do you work remotely, or
How is it?
No, we don't want to be a remote company right now. I know it's not popular just to say this, but
You're free. You're free.
but I want our employees to be in the office with everyone and build a strong culture. But we allow people to take remote days if they want to. We're not strict on this, but we're not adapting to something different because of the COVID. Obviously, during the quarantine, everyone was working remotely, but right now, I really want on the business side and also on the personal one that things come back as they were before the crisis. That things are.
And I can understand as well. I mean, when you are really like starting and building your culture, the need to be in the same room. But as you mentioned, you're not strict. Like people are free to organize themselves the way they want.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
And you don't have like hours to start and hours to end.
Never.
So how do you see the world after COVID?
I don't know. Sometimes I feel like things are a bit different.
Yeah.
But also sometimes I felt that nothing has really changed and that people are getting back to their normal life. So, but regarding our business with the freelancers, obviously, I think that there will be a huge growth of the freelancer economy because on the more business side, traditional companies will be working more and more with freelancers than employees because it's more flexible.
Totally. So you are on a growing market for sure.
I think
sure.
I think for sure that we're on a growing market.
So the world is becoming freelancing.
I don't know if the world is going to be only made of freelancers. I think that we have a balance, that right now you have 15% of the French workers that work as self-employed. And I think that in a few years you'll have 20 to 25. But I think that the traditional employee model will still remain, even if there is a crisis and that you have more and more freelancers in today's economy.
What are your next challenges?
I think scale, because right now we have, I think, good product, good team. We made good hirings. We have good metrics. So I'm not stressed about the Series A. I think that we're going to raise money in a way, but right now I'm talking a lot with CEOs that are managing bigger companies to be 100% prepared for the next steps, because managing a company that made a seed round is super different than managing a company that just raised a Series A or even a Series B. You have we have 15 employees now. I think that in 2 years we'll be around 100 or 60 employees. So it's a different job, so that's something that I'm learning right now, and I try to get feedback from CEOs that run bigger companies.
Have you been so tell me why you've been who are the companies, the startups, the entrepreneurs you met at the family that you like the most? You have to choose.
I have to choose.
Yes, you have to
I'm
choose.
super impressed by a company that you know called Kala. They are making I don't know how to say in English.
Pasta.
Pasta.
Automated pasta.
Automated pasta, yeah.
So it's a boat that is cooking pasta.
That is cooking pasta, and the CEO Ilan is a great friend of mine. He just turned 22 or 23, and I'm super impressed about what they're doing.
I love them as well.
Yeah.
Another one?
Another one. Yeah, but he's a good friend of mine too. So.
Tell me.
Vibe.
Vibe, of course.
I like what they're doing, because they are also.
Pitch Vibe.
Vibe is a bank for teenagers, and the founders are also, I would say,
teenagers.
Yeah, teenagers. They are. Vincent is 24, I think.
Yes.
So they are super young for the fintech area. So that's why we're super fun, because he had to face the same challenges that I had. So growing up in the traditional old industry, that's the banking area. Yeah.
Cool. All right. And tell me, so you've been joining the family through this program, Reverse. But why have you been choosing? Because you had the network, you had the knowledge. Why have you been choosing to keep on working with us?
You belong
to the crew, the fellowship.
Because of the crew and the community, when you're starting a company, it's great to have friends that are going through the same joy sometime, or sometimes the same problems. So I would say first for the community, and something that the family taught me is to get the confidence to build a company, even if I'm super young in the old industry.
Cool. All right. I think we are already almost at the end of this amazing moment. How you felt?
Great.
No one asks any question. So if you have question, my friend, feel free to ask it now. It's cool. We still have like 2 minutes. So feel free to ask all of your questions, because otherwise I will have to ask you the final question. And the final question is, what is your favorite song? But wait. Before I put my favorite song for you. Everybody sings this for you, right?
Yeah.
But you can tell me your favorite song as well.
Right now?
Yeah?
The song that I like to listen right now is Sunny. You know the Daddy Cole album? That took me in a good vibe.
Which one?
Sunny.
Sunny.
Yeah,
All
that's the one.
right. We're gonna put it because nobody asks question at all right now.
Yeah, then
Which one? This one?
the first one.
All right, my friends.
Sunny. Yesterday my life.
It was cool.
It was a great pleasure
Yes?
to be here.
You felt good?
Great.
Comfortable?
As
You
usual.
smiled at me and
It was a pleasure, everybody. See you soon. Bye bye.